Rationalization of the school system. English conversation practice for the oral test of the Italian School Managers Competition, public competition. Part 5. Rationalization of the school system. The economic lines for the period 2008-2010 regarding the school area established that the school should contribute to the containment of public spending and to stabilize the state finance. Redimension. Contribution of the school to the containment of public spending. Spending review. The Ministry of Education has introduced measures such as revising the arrangement in the kindergartens and the first cycle, revising the arrangement in the organizational and teaching areas of high school, the reorganization of technical and professional schools, the criteria for evaluating the education of students, the criteria for training classes, the definition of criteria and indicators for determining the overall size of the schools, of the teachers, of the organs, of other staff. The teaching staff and the formation of classes. The schools are organized in a way to merge in separate sections children who follow different time patterns. Sections of childhood school are set up normally with a number of children under 18 and not more than 26, where it is not possible to redistribute children between neighboring schools. Excess enrollments shall be allocated among the various sections of the same school, not exceeding the 29th unit per section, excluding from the redistribution those who accept students with disabilities. In primary school, the staffing law is determined on the basis of 27 hours for each of the first and second classes, 30 hours for each of the subsequent classes, and 44 hours for full-time classes. The primary school classes are normally formed with a number of pupils not less than 15 and not more than 26, increased up to 27 if one remains. The multi-classes consist of no less than 8 and no more than 18 pupils, the multi-classes. In junior high school, the school schedule for the third year classes shall be adjusted to that of the first and second year classes, already reduced earlier, so that all classes spend 30 hours per week, and eliminating all optional subjects. The prolonged classes, 36 hours, including lunch, cafeteria and lunch, should be authorized within the limits of staffing allocated, but under certain structural and services conditions. In high school, courses offered are reduced by about 10% compared to the average number of hours, 1,000, in 2009-2010 school year. This follows from the reduction of hours in areas with an annual timetable of more than 98 hours in the second and third year professional classes and in the second, third and fourth year technicians classes, the reduction of 1 or 2 hours may not exceed 20% of the total hours. Reformation for the high schools resides in the timetable for the first year classes for all the institutes. As the reform will affect the succeeding classes, the reduction of staff will be more dramatic. Changing of the criteria for the formation of classes. With the start of the Gelmini reform, and also in a new law, good school law, for a school year validation, it is required the presence of a percentage of 3 on 4 pupils of the school times. Note that the upper limit of 3/4, non so come si dice 3/4 in inglese. Note that the upper limit of absences of the pupils had already been introduced by another legislative decree, as amended for school year validation for the assessment of middle school students. In the area of class organization, the Ministry of Education has given provisions for the inclusion of foreign students in Italian schools, provided with the ministerial circular in 2010, a maximum of 30% with regard to the presence of non-Italian pupils compared to the total of students in each class. This is, I'm aware, a percentage that can be changed by the USR Director General, as it needs to be compared to the specific local context. High school revision and reorder. Regardless of the quality of the high school education reform, which debated in September 2010 in the first year classes, there is no doubt that from a political point of view, it was a real ordeal. We will point to some aspect for the 3 regulation, which represent the basis of the reform. To revise the order, organization and teaching structures for the high schools, to lay down the rules concerning the reorganization of the technical high school, and the one containing the rules concerning the reorganization of vocational schools. High schools become 6, 2 of which are new, with a total of 11 choices. The technical high school are of 2 types with 11 choices: 2 technical, economic, and 9 technological. The vocational schools are of 2 types with 6 choices: 4 professional services and 2 professional industry handicrafts. The high school priority is to teach the basic skills in Italian, mathematics, science and foreign languages, suggesting, as compared to the previous system, a shift in the cultural balance in the direction of strengthening the technical scientific areas. Institutions will use at best the largest share of autonomous flexibility. The regional system of vocational education and training will continue to offer 5 years and 3-year courses, which are useful to the attainment of professional qualifications and of compulsory education. The new reform high school schedule will result in a reduction of the training offered, which will bring Italy to the European average. In the technical high school and vocational schools are taught, on average, 32 teaching hours per week, reaching an hour total of 1,000 hours for 33 weeks. 27 hours a week are given for the first 2 years of classical, scientific, linguistic, and human science high schools. 34 hours in the artistic high school. 31 hours for the third and fourth years, and in the last year of the classical high school, 31 hours. 30 hours for the last 3 years of the scientific, linguistic, and human science high school. 35 hours for the last 3 years of the artistic high school. 32 hours in every musical high school class. The reduction appears strongly marked, from 600 to 200 hours, between the theoretical teacher and the practical teacher. One of the most important aspects of the Gelmini reform is recognizing of greater autonomy to the school of organizing a study plan. This means that when determining how many teachers, each school may change the standard timetable, maintaining unchanged the total number of annual hours and moving a few hours between the different disciplines to characterize his own educational and cultural identity, keeping in mind the educational demand of the territory. Initial teacher training, career and short-term contracts. In terms of training for teachers, on 10 September 2010, Minister presented a special ministerial decree for teaching in kindergarten and primary school. The qualifying 5-year degree course will be active, including practical training, while in secondary schools, after a transition period during which the internship active training will be activated, a new system of teaching qualification will start. TFA. The TFA transition will be triggered after the formal adoption of the regulation from 2011. The degree courses will start in academic year 2011-2012 and will issue certificates of competency with respect to teachers teaching class, which are provided in the ministerial decree number 39 in 1998. Okay. The decision of the Ministry of Education is eradicate the long-lasting and uncivilized practice of the ranking for temporary teachers, which resulted as time in humiliating scenarios. But as long as the guy will not be fully absorbed, respecting the right acquired by the precarious staff who have passed the qualifying test, the teachers will continue to undergo a different treatment than other workers. In the last year, there was radical changing, because was eliminated TFA, career training. In 2017, there was a FIT, FIT training, but in 2018, also the FIT training are eliminated.